Hey, brother. How's it going?
Hello. How you doing, my friend? How are
Very,
things?
very good. Busy, getting busy with this new podcasting, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, this is
Uh,
exciting, man. I'm excited for you.
yeah, it is, and but it's also trying to figure out like the whole system. To be honest with you, I knew not as complicated, but to do it properly, to have nice quality audio, video, like I knew it took a lot, but to figure out how to actually do it properly took a lot more work than I thought. I realized I know
Yeah,
nothing.
I'm a little alienated right now. I'm not gonna lie. You look at the high tech, the got the over ears there. The mic is highly professional. I'm assuming. I'm lower than you right now too. I'm like down. I'm like down.
Well, I was
I'm gonna try
exactly
and sit up, be in the same level.
I was exactly where you are 2 weeks ago. I thought like one day the setup is done, but no, it took a little bit longer than expected.
You got to do it
But
right. I get that.
yeah, well, exactly. You do it once, right? You do it once, and then you start using it, and that's kind of been our motto here for a long time. Um, but so, how's the market? What do you like about the market? Not like about it?
The market, can we even call it a buyer's market right now? Can we even call it that? I mean, just a
Maybe,
bit of
maybe.
a,
Well, it could favor buyers for sure. I like to call it it's just dead, right? It's just there's not much. Like it's just everything's on pause. I feel like this is
yeah,
what it is. We've been so long waiting for what's going to happen with inflation and interest rates that it's just people are waiting. They're not too sure what to do, so they're just waiting. So like there is a lot of inventory, uh, but still not as crazy as it was before. Like I've been in this for like when I started 10 years ago, we had 10,000 listings active. We're at not even five
crazy.
right now. So it's just, and we just thought that's what it was. It was slow, but we just thought that that's what it was. But now we're just losing our minds over 5,000 active listings. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's stale. It's definitely
Very.
stale right now.
Mhm.
And I'm in the same position as yourself, as I think a lot of realtors are and um, can even count themselves as lucky. I have buyers that are waiting, such as you said, and there's a lot of factors for why they're waiting, but they can buy right now. They can,
Mhm.
and it's not the fact that they cannot afford the payments or the purchase price. It's that exactly what you said. It's just dead. People are just essentially on the fence. Should I pull the trigger, or maybe there are lower prices coming,
Well,
and
that's the thing,
I'm
right?
not
So
sure.
the lower prices coming in, I've been like, we've been talking about this for a little while. Like the issue that we're having right now. So let's just say, for example, you're listing a home, you're pricing it with market comparables. That's how you price a home. Whatever sold that is comparable to yours, you price your home according to it. But the problem is that most of these sales are from 2, 3, 4 months ago, right? So what's the market today? Plus, right now there's more active listings, so you're kind of basing your sales from a few months ago, but there are some desperate sellers out there, right, that need to sell for whatever reason it could be. But some people they need to sell like right now, so they will reduce their price. They will take a lowball offer just to sell their homes, and then boom, market resets because you have one recent sale that is lower than everything else. So if you're a buyer agent, you're coming in with your client. That's the price you're looking at, not the other 4, 5, 6 homes that sold in that area 4 months ago. You're looking at today, and there's a few markets that we're looking in neighborhoods that there's one crazy sale that just happened, and then boom, it shifts everything else.
Oh, 100%, man. 100%. And I think that the most important thing right now is going to be investigating that seller's motivation as a buyer's agent, and hence your clients are going to benefit from this majorly. Um, Understanding why a seller is motivated to sell can be key, right? Their personal circumstances, the financial pressures that they're under, any urgency, can influence their willingness to negotiate. And you want to find out what that is if you can. You're not always going to, but there's a lot of things that um, will be obvious too. Will help you immediately to know kind of where that seller is going to be sitting, and then based off of as recent as you can get those comparables, coming in and then negotiating with that listing agent, or just that seller if they're not represented, or they're whatever, just so that the message gets to that seller. Negotiating with them.
Yeah, and there are some few tools that we have that we're able to use. Like it's very simple. Like we can go online and do a search. And first off, for example, we look at vacant properties, right? So you can go. I only want to see
Absolutely.
vacant properties. It's the time of year that vacant properties are scary because it's already slow, and it's going to be even slower in the winter months. You're going to have to carry all the extra costs heating that house that is vacant. So some sellers might be more prone to taking a lower offer. I did just a fun search earlier today, and I looked at vacant properties and then look at days on market. You have some properties that have been vacant for 300 days, right? These people might be desperate, so maybe there's something in there, right? The other thing that I looked into it is that you can look into is because people don't realize that. So online, there's public remarks, right? You can see whatever you want people to like. Whatever the agents put, whatever you want people to see about the property. But there's also a section that's called rep remarks. So basically, it's the sales
That's our
sales
best friend.
representative. Exactly. That's your best friend. That's a good way to put it. So it's what the agent wants to communicate to another agent. Well, sometimes in there, you're going to see stuff like motivated seller, or, or another thing that I looked at. You see possession date, immediate. Ooh, that I like, right? Or it was like, for example, I've seen November 15th, but the agent never updated it. And we're now November 23rd or 24th. Right. So it's like these
Price
guys
drops, man.
possession date. Exactly. And quick price drop, right? Like you have a listing that's been on for 30 days. They already dropped 3 times. These guys are desperate and they want to sell. So there's a few things.
You're ringing a bell here. Exactly. I'm in the middle of one right now, and actually the counter's sitting in my inbox right now. They were, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's so many properties right now in the same position, so you won't be able to guess one anyway. So, but they started up at 645 middle unit town. Now, I believe it's a 2021 or 2022 Half Moon
Fairly
Bay area. Yeah. So nice house, pretty standard upgrades and all that. They come in at 645. Exactly what you're saying, man. I think it was probably not even that long ago, maybe 45 days ago, which that's under average days on market nowadays anyway.
Sure.
And then they dropped to 637, and then recently, about 6 days ago, after being at that 637 for 2 weeks, they come down to 610. And buyers is what we were talking about earlier, and buyers agents are just licking their chops for these exact scenarios. And there's a ton of these opportunities right now that just, I would argue as well, like with the holidays around the corner, a lot of these sellers, they just want to move on. They want to have this figured out and this dealt with immediately. And so we went in there and we're trying to get even more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got to represent my buyer. I got to do what's best for them, and I know my buyers. You want to know your buyers well. My buyers are like many right now. At least the ones that can get a mortgage approval. They're sitting there and they're just waiting and watching and waiting for that deal. And this one popped up, and so we'll see what that counter is. My phone's on airplane mode right now, but we're going to check it out after and see what came back our way.
It better be on airplane mode.
Yeah. You got to.
We both know what's going to happen if it's not on airplane mode right now.
Yeah. Ding, ding. Yeah, you got it, brother.
For sure. The one thing that I think happened, one of the reason I think that it's market's on pause is like you have people that are going to move regardless, right? So job changes, an extra kid, you need another bedroom, separation. There's a ton of reason that you need to move, like
mortgage renewals.
Mortgage
renewals. I feel like you're going to bring this. It was on mortgage
Yeah.
renewals.
So the need buy or need sell are still happening. What we're not seeing is the
Absolutely.
want buy and sell. So somebody that, let's just say, a year and a half ago wanted a home, they have their townhome right now, good home, but they'd like to have a bigger yard. They'd like to have a detached home. They're pre-approved up to, I don't know, 700,000. And then things change, interest rates go up. Well, now they're pre-approved to 580, right? So they
Yeah.
can't buy that $700,000 home anymore. And yes, the prices have come down, but not that much. So the buying power has reduced drastically. So now you're going to change for the exact same home. So there's no point. So these people are not buying anymore. They're not just switching, and that's what we're seeing. That's the biggest difference. The biggest difference.
What's
And
the
like,
point of doing a lateral move, right? What's the point of doing a lateral move right now, especially at this time of year, in Canada, in Ottawa, where it's getting cold, and you're doing a lateral move, you're paying us, or the seller is, or whatever, your land transfer taxes, all your closing costs. Yeah.
mhm.
What's the point? Exactly. Like, why do a lateral move if you
Well,
don't have to?
and
Maybe that.
that's it. And to be honest with you, I believe that this is the number one reason why we're seeing a lower number of sales total. And if I look at, I'm gonna share this. Yeah, I think that's the one. You able to see this? So if we're looking at
Yes.
total sales, right? So this is right when I started. So let's just say this is residential and condo.
Wow.
So back in the good days, 2020 and 2021, 25,000 in 2021. Then we had a reduction last year of 34%. And then again this year, like we're year's not over. Let's just add like 800 sales to this, for example, around what we should be until the end of the year, maybe a little bit less. But you're looking at even from 2022 to 2023, a reduction of another 19%. Right. And
Unbelievable.
if we're all the way from 2 years, 2021 to 2023, it's like 59% less sales. Like these are stupid numbers. Like nobody can predict anything like that. Like it's just, and I guess nobody predicted the interest rate this high so fast. So
This
it's a little bit
quickly.
sorry, but it's it's been a weird one, and I can't even imagine being a new agent coming in trying to represent your buyers and sellers coming into this when things are changing every week, every other week. Like you do a listing appointment, the next week you have to change your conversation because things have changed
Yeah.
already. But then coming in, new agent, and not supported on a team or having a good mentor, like this, because this is going to
Good
be
luck to you.
well, and that's it. That's it. And you'd probably get it to you'd probably do sales, but you're not going to be able to represent your client as well. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now there is going to be more time for your negotiation, though. At least, so at least like you can. I don't even want to say this. I don't want to say you can make mistakes, but you have the time to learn more robustly now. That if you started, let's say 2021, when arguably 95% of
Mhm.
transactions, I mean, especially in the city, I would say almost 100% were going multiple offers over
Yeah.
asking.
Hmm.
Now you've got more time for that negotiation without that immediate pressure, and it allows also the buyer for potentially a more advantageous deal too, which
Well,
is
and that's it.
fantastic.
Don't be eager. Don't be eager. Just let it drag out. And
Mm,
sometimes you're trying to get a price that you feel is the right value, or you're trying to steal it. Like everybody does their own thing, right? If you're trying to steal a property, you're on the buy side, you can do it.
I feel like
But when you
everyone
do,
wants to steal it now, brother. Yeah, I just feel
yeah,
like every
I agree.
buyer's like,
I agree. I agree. And it's the
j- j-
mentality.
j-
Right? The buyer agent comes in and says, "Yeah, we're going to be able to get you this and that." So like, it's the mentality of
to
how
lock you
transactions.
in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, before it was a couple years ago, or even probably less than that. The sellers, every house they thought it was worth $1 million. Like that was the going number, was $1 million. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can't even. remember how many listing appointments where you'd go in and they were pretty certain that their house was worth $1 million, right? And now it's completely flipped the other way, where buyers are going in and they're seeing 1, 2, 3, 10, 15 houses, and their approach is I can get $50,000 off the asking price, even if the house, you're showing them comparables, recent comparables, and showing that market value is
It's not the
it's
pro
listed properly.
that's it.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes
completely
it's listed.
flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
so
the average negotiation, like from sale to list ratio, has been just under 18,000 average to like from the asking price to the sale price, and this is
I
as
didn't know
high as
that.
it's as high as I've ever seen. Like even when there were 10, 11 months of inventory and 10,000 listings on the market, you'd still see like 10, 11 maybe. It's just like, I think that back in the day, homes were listed properly. There was a lot of homes on the market. You had to list it properly. It was what it was worth. So
Mhm.
agents were doing their job like they should have. But with the pandemic, it was different. You underlist everything. Everything goes crazy. The listing price didn't matter, basically. Like it didn't matter what you listed at. Like you could be 10, 15, 20,000 high or low. You'd still get your price or what the market was willing to pay. And right now it's like some agents or clients are you're still trying. So you're trying higher and then you're reducing, trying, you never know like if this home is listed properly. And then
Would
because
you
of
argue
that,
that that's sellers though? Would you argue that, Cedric, like that's based off of sellers' expectations from the last, couple crazy years, that sellers are just more prone
yeah.
to move slower? They're always kind of in the past a little
and
bit, and
and that's a problem because like the forecast is that prices are going to go a little bit down still for a few months, and then interest rates are most likely, if we look at all the economic
hopefully.
data, like starting to go down, and then market's going to pick up again. Like this is the overall consensus. But so the way I try to explain it to my sellers, and like what you're saying is absolutely right, but I think the issue is maybe they're not being educated properly. Agents are eager to get the listing and they're like, okay,
Hmm.
we're going to try it and reduce later because everybody's doing that. But the way that I try to explain it right now is, so you have the prices that it should be worth. So we're looking at comparables. Would you agree that this is the price of your home? Yes, but
Hmm.
we're going to, okay, let's start here. Okay. But then in 2 months, it's going to be there. And then we're going to start a reduction, but we'll never be
Always
where.
behind the trend.
Well, exactly. We'll always be behind the trend. And like, and then you show example of, okay, so this home should have sold at 650 3 months ago, but it were listed at 675. Well, now they're listed at 625 because prices are down
Hmm.
since then. Right. So it's a mad, like when I go into a listing appointment right now, I don't even talk price before I spent like 15, 20 minutes on the market, where it's gone from before to now and where it is now. And then comparables and all, like if somebody asks me
You
about the
have
price
to.
of their home, well, it's the only way, because if they ask me the price of their home when I get in, I'm going to tell them their price and then they're going to kick me out. Right? Like they're not going to be happy with the price I'm giving them. So you need to build data before you come in. It's the only way. It's the only way.
You have to create that narrative. I totally agree with you, man. Like we're basically like underpaid economists, like you're going in there and you're forming this full like economic shell for them of what has happened the previous years and why and where potentially we could go. And then also, the obvious, reiterating that we don't have a crystal ball, but all the trends and the data that we've been studying point towards these options, A, B, or whatever. And we have to follow the media. You and I, we have to have our finger on the pulse, and in order to go into these presentations with sellers, also with buyers, to explain to them like, listen, you do feel like you have the power right now, but like how long is that going to last? And trying to time that market from a buyer's perspective is very dangerous. I agree with you that I think potentially prices are going to come down a jar, a little bit, but
A little bit. Nothing
what
crazy.
if they
It's
don't?
already down. Yeah.
It already has come down.
Hmm.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
arguably, like, I've got the same buyer as I was discussing earlier. Like he's looking back at data from back in January, February, March, and I'm just saying like, yeah, there was some pretty smoking deals. I'm not going to argue with you. There's some pretty smoking deals on the same streets as what he's seeing right now. And unfortunately, the past it just it doesn't matter. And we're in such a turbulent market. Like these last few years, it's been absolutely crazy for obvious reasons that we don't even
Mhm.
need to bring up. And people just need to adjust to the fact that arguably every month is different from the last and the next, if not weekly. And so we're having these conversations with our sellers, just like you had mentioned, like the trend thing. I totally agree with that. Yeah, you can go a bit above, but it might cost you in the end.
It
So
might cost you, it might cost you in the end, exactly. And especially
mhm.
this time of year, like we're coming up to the end of November, it's very time sensitive. Most people don't want to move in the winter, right? Like you're not just looking at the time that people are buying the house. It's a good time to buy right now. It's still okay outside. It's the time they're moving, right?
Mhm.
So nobody wants to
Yeah,
move in January in a
exactly,
snowstorm. So it's
exactly. In
a
Ottawa,
lot.
in Canada.
Well, that's it. Exactly. I mean, if you're in Florida, it doesn't matter much, but if you're about to have our weather, it does make a difference.
That's an interesting point. I don't know this, and maybe you do, but like wonder what in Florida if they would have the same trends, the same dips. That's something
I
I want to
asked
look
those
into.
questions before, and basically the trends are still there, but just not as pronounced, like not as heavy. Like for example, like people like to, most families would like to move before the end of the school year, right? But that happens everywhere, not just where there's snow.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
you still have these trends. You still have a few few things that are going on, but like not as heavy as ours. Like if you're looking at let me change that chart here to this might take me a minute or two, so if you want to change subject for a second.
Yeah, well, for sure. There's something that we kind of blasted past that I wanted to talk about, which is something again, like I work with a lot of buyers, and sometimes that's unfortunate, but a lot of the time it's not, and I think the great thing about the buyers is they're the lifeblood of the whole thing. So you have to be able to negotiate with your buyers, explaining to them what can make their offers more attractive if they're solely focused on price, which a lot of them are right now. A lot of buyers, and you can't blame them. I mean, they're seeing what's happening in the
Can't
market, and
blame
they're so focused on price that things like, for example, your conditions in your offer. I mean, I don't encourage people to go in with no finance condition, of course, because you still want that firm approval from the underwriter. But if you're going in with, let's say you've got a pre-approval at $900,000 and you're looking at middle unit townhouses at 600K, um, it's on the buyer. It's up to them, uh, especially if they're not a first-time home buyer. But maybe they want to take the risk of going in unconditional on a brand new house or something like that that's fully
you.
under warranty. Whereas
Yeah.
they're trying to get that $25,000 discount that everyone wants right now. You can make your offer incredibly attractive through conditions, things such as closing date, possession
There's
date,
so many things.
um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
And even like if you even some sellers don't want to move in the winter, right? So if you come in as a buyer, they're kind of scared about the seller is scared
bingo.
about everything. But you come in as a buyer and say, you know what, I can move in April, I can move in May,
Yeah,
whatever you want, tell me. But this is my price. So and then sometimes
exactly.
it works, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's why you need to ask those questions. That's why you need to make sure that you know exactly the seller's motivation, like we mentioned in the beginning. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to highlight here. Like if you're looking at all the months, number of sales, right? Like January 749, 986, but entered into 2000 in May and June, right?
Crazy.
Like that's a massive difference, massive
There's the
difference.
trend.
Well, exactly, right? So um, and it's not just this year; it's always how it's been.
That's the
So
Canadian weather. That's the Canadian
well,
weather
that's
effect.
it. That's it. And it's kind of it's more than just like I think it's even more than just the weather. People come in and they know, like we teach our clients saying, hey, this is a tough time. We need to go on the market now. Right. So we kind of buyers are waiting for spring market. There are more properties on the market like in May. You know what I mean? Like it's people are looking for deals, might not wait for that. But if you're moving with your family and you're looking for your ideal home with the ideal lot and everything, you might want to wait at a time that you might have more property in there. So I think it's also like it's the weather, but it's a bit of self-inflicted as well.
Yeah, 100%. People are so used to previous year trends that they think that they have to follow in that, and I think that that's general herd mentality that
Yeah.
does obviously have the most effect over things. It plays out their perennial approach to all of this, but then you've got all these other trends like we've been discussing this whole podcast, where are affected by so many global health events and everything,
Yeah.
world wars and stuff that they can't predict. And that's
Oh,
where I think from a seller's point, you do have to look more at the calendar, and then from a buyer's point, if you can at least be flexible, um, you know, just go in it, not trying to time the market, because you don't really know what's on the horizon, but just make sure that the deal works for you. And if you've got a good agent, that agent's going to help you, tweak, the knobs, turn all the different attributes of that offer and the ways to approach it, which again relates back to that motivation, which is
well,
probably arguably the most important thing.
if you're trying to steal something or whatever, yeah, motivation is all in there because like you have some sellers that are gonna be like, you know what, no, my home is worth this. I'm not reducing, and it might make sense. Like I have some sellers myself that I like. We've accepted deals. And I'm like, man, like you sure? Like we can do better than this. Oh no, it's just they're scared. They want to get it done, so they do sell it. It's sometimes just a client that's scared. I have a client that's it's just basically it's a family estate. Father passed away. It's a vacant home. They're not too sure what's going on. They're kind of scared of maintaining. Nobody wants to maintain the property. We sold it under market, like before putting on the market. They found the buyer. We took care of the transaction for them, but they found the buyer way undersold, like way
Mm,
undersold. And we're like, dude, like, don't do this. We can get you a lot more money than this. But it's like, can you guarantee it? Well, no, but, and then it's like, no, you know what? We don't want to deal with the problems. It's sold. We don't have to list it. We don't have to stage it. We don't have to put our family property on the market. And just for them, that's what it was. That's what the value was. So, okay, you do it. But then this
the
buyer really took
emotional
advantage
side of
of
it,
them.
it's
Well,
heavy,
exactly.
heavy.
There's so many things. And like as a buyer agent, I think our job is just to just leave no stone unturned, right? Like these are all the knobs like you were mentioning. You need to turn them all to see which one works. And then maybe a combination of those are going to work, but you have to try. You're in a market that you can try. That's what it is. And I've done one not too long ago. We did try. Like we went in under, I tried to, use motivation, use all that. They didn't have any. They didn't
Hmm.
care. My buyer's like, well, you
Hmm.
know what? It's a nice little cottage property. There's not many of those out there. I still want it.
Hmm.
Okay, these are your options. We can wait and try to get a better deal, or this is the one that you love. Let's buy it. I think you have to try,
What's it
but it
worth to
doesn't.
you?
Well, and that's it. And a few years ago, you'd get a 30K under asking offer, and you just tell them to go to hell, right? Right now, it's just okay. Let me work the offer. I'll get back to you, right? Like it's totally different. Nobody's taking it
Yeah.
personally.
No, 100%. You've got to be a detective. You've got to be a strategist. You've got to be an economist. You've got to be a therapist. I can just imagine that situation that you were going through with that, the emotional burden that they're going through. You're at least getting a portion of that and can completely understand that, again, that motivation. And yeah, we can get you more money. You're looking at it from the economist point, or from what your job is, which is to get the most money
Mhm.
for their asset.
Well, and
But
that's kind of what we're trained for, right? Like it's when you see
totally,
everybody post online, oh, got this for this house, got that. Like you're trying to,
totally
you're become
triggered.
competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like when you in 3 years, most sellers, when they think about if you did a good job or not, you sold it quickly for more money than what I thought I could get. Great job.
Yeah.
Or it took a lot of time and we didn't get much, right? So we're kind of
But
mentally trained to try to get as much as possible.
I think what you brought up is a really good point. A lot of it that's not talked about in this job, where that's a very unique situation that involves a lot of things other than just dollars and cents and market trends. And I think that a lot of that isn't talked about, and it isn't expressed in the sale price of the flashy sale prices, or
Mhm.
all the different variables that went into the decision by that seller in the end. So that's really interesting, man. That's definitely something that um, you just don't see that talked about a lot. The other ways that you need to do your job in order to be a good realtor.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. There's it's fluctuating so much right now that you have to do your research. Like whatever conversation we're having today,
Mhm.
if we do this podcast in 4 weeks, you might have to have it completely different,
We're gonna have a
right?
lot
Like
of
it's
material. I'll come back.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Anyway, so I had in mind that this thing would be about 15 minutes. We're about 31 now, so I
That's
would have
classic us.
expected to a little bit go over. It's just
Sorry.
nature of the beast. No, it's the same for me. Same for me. It's the nature of the beast, right? We're talking. It's a subject we're all passionate about. So, brother, man, thank you for coming in. My first podcast
Yeah,
on
man.
this. You'll always be remembered.
Super exciting. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. And yeah, like I said, I'd love to come back, and maybe 3 weeks, maybe four. But I think there's going to be a lot of material that we can cover. So I'd love to come back on. This was great energy, man. Thanks for having me.
100%. All right. Take care, man.
See you later, bro. Bye.
See ya. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed our first episode. Make sure you subscribe since we'll be releasing a new episode every single week. If there is a topic that you would like us to explore, leave it in the comments below and we will look into it. All right, see you next week.